When a virus shakes people in real life, disgusting loser utilizes his SS rank skills to protect the world. Takahiro is your average disgustingly unattractive loser who cleans his room once per century. To make things extra incredible, he dropped out of school and became a lonely, disgusting geek. He dislikes everyone in his family, particularly his father. Takahiro was a cheerful kid who had a wonderful connection with his family when he was a kid. His father was a well-known programmer who used to teach Takahiro how to code. One day, Takahiro was having a great time learning from his father when his sister, Aya, brought them some tea. Despite her best efforts, Aya managed to spill the tea. Their father became enraged and violently pushed her away. Despite witnessing Aya in tears, this jerk of a father shouted at her to leave. Takahiro tried to comfort his father by pointing out that the computer was safe and that he had just completed the final coding. The father's focus moved to Takahiro, who was thrilled about the project. However, one day, Aya lost her notepad at school. Despite the fact that it was after 10 o'clock at night, the rubbish father told her to return to school alone and bring it up. The streets were well lit, and it was only a 5-minute walk. However, Aya never returned. She was later found sliced as a meat roll inside a cardboard box. Since then, Takahiro has become a disgusting shut-in who spends his entire days in his room playing a game named Planet. One day, while playing, some airships are attacked by pirates. 2 kids hopped on a motorcycle together, chasing a big monster that the pirates also wanted. The kid driving the motorcycle started complaining about how long the chase was, but the other kid with the shooting skills told him to keep going. Finally, they ran into a fiery red dragon, the big target they were after. They were determined to catch it, even though one of them warned that they might end up at a place called Twilight Hill. It's where a bunch of super strong players in the game, the Akabane family, hung out. Even though the first boy wanted to give up, the gunman remained persistent. The dragon let out a tremendous roar as they approached a house. The doors to the house opened, and a little kid called Ikai, also known as Takahiro, appeared. He leaped into the air and conjured a sword to sever the dragon's head like it was nothing. Then he began gathering all of the amazing items that the dragon had. The shooter requested some of the dragon's assets, but Ikai refused. He told them they were worthless since he had just slain the dragon they'd been hunting for days. He warned them not to quarrel and threatened to kill them. When a character is knocked out in the virtual world, it doesn't truly affect them in real life, but it might screw with their gaming ranks. The boy on the motorbike persuades Ikai to calm down and put his blade away. Ikai states he was kidding and invites them to see his boss to discuss their wealth from the dragon they slain. A startling surprise awaits the 2 players when they enter the home. They expected it to be depressing and dungeon-like, but it's really a warm and welcoming family home. They meet Mei, who plays the Akabane family's mother. She's in the kitchen, cooking, and offers them tea, treating them like guests. Then, Ikai's in-game brother shows up. His name is A, 6 A's in a row, but they just call him A. It seems like he fell asleep on the keyboard when he was naming his character. He's really friendly and even invites them to have lunch. Mei uses her healing magic to make their game characters feel better and all healed up. The 2 players can't believe what's going on. They stand there nervously when Shiro enters the scene. He's the big leader and father-like figure of the Akabane family. He's got a huge, muscular presence that makes the 2 players feel pretty small. Ikai explains the whole deal with the red dragon and the loot disagreement to Shiro. Surprisingly, Shiro tells Ikai to give back the loot to the other players. He says there have been problems in the game when high-level players keep everything for themselves. Ikai accepts, and the players express their heartfelt gratitude to Shiro that evening. Shiro requests that Mei transfer them to the neighboring city, and she gladly obliges. Back at the mansion, Ikai is disappointed at having lost the loot, but Shiro cheers him up. He emphasizes how much he's evolved by bringing down the dragon with just 1 strike. Ikai turns red and blushes, while A playfully teases him for not keeping a straight face when he's praised. Mei walks in with a large dish of food and instructs them to prepare the table for supper, which they do. They see the chandelier light flickering as they are eating. A remarks on how the game pays attention to minute details, leading them to believe that the game's creators must be perfectionists. The 3 guys rise up to adjust the light and giggle at how well they match. Mei claims the place seems like a true home, which makes Ikai blush even more. In the real world, Takahiro, the real-life Ikai, removes his game goggles in a cluttered room. He has a red eye and complains about being hungry and having to deal with tough people in the real world. When he attempts to stand, he slips and falls into his bed. He heads downstairs, hoping for some food, but there's nothing waiting for him, which makes him frustrated. As he goes downstairs, he runs into his younger brother, Asuma Arima, and there's tension between them. Ikai steps back, avoiding eye contact with his brother. He doesn't like Asuma, who's a super smart student and always acts like he's better than him. Asuma just walks past him, and Takeiro goes to the kitchen. He finds his dad, Kojiro Arima, sitting at the table, eating. Takeiro doesn't think much of his dad and calls him worthless. Takeiro's looking in the fridge for food, and his dad offers to share his meal. This bugs Takeiro, and he wishes his dad would stop talking to him. Kojiro tries to say something to his son, but he doesn't finish, and that makes Takeiro even more frustrated. Just when Takeiro's about to argue, the light in the room starts flickering. His father requests for him assistance in replacing the light bulb since his back hurts. Takeiro initially walks away, but then changes his mind. He volunteers to fix the lamp and advises his father not to overwork himself because he is elderly. That irritates his father, who chastises Takeiro for referring to him as old. After this debate, Takeiro abandons the light and returns to his room. He's fed up with the actual world, so he puts on his gaming goggles and returns to the virtual one. Ikai converses with Mei, who is caring for a plant in the game planet. He taunts her, saying he's astonished that such a kind girl never gets into fights and always appears to perform chores. Mei worries whether Ikai is taunting her, but he instantly apologizes and clarifies that he didn't intend it that way. He genuinely wants her to be his healer since he is traveling to a dungeon for a major battle, and she agrees to assist. She observes he looks depressing, but he denies it. Mei proposes that Ikai try something new, such as gardening. While they work in the garden, Mei reveals that this is her first and only gaming experience, having not played many others. Ikai asks if she's having fun in the game, and she says yes, especially because of their in-game family. Then, A shows up and invites them inside to see something. They find a message from the pirates declaring war, and Ikai gets super mad, ready to fight back because he thinks the pirates are asking for trouble. A tells him to be careful and wait for Shiro's decision, but Mei tells them that Shiro won't be playing the game for a while because he's in the hospital, and that shocks the boys. Ikai panics and shakes Mei while asking about Shiro's condition, but A steps in to try and calm him down. When Ikai finally understands what's going on, his anger goes away. All of a sudden, they hear a loud noise outside and find that the garden is on fire from a pirate battleship's bomb attack. Ikai is super mad, especially when he sees Mei feeling really sad about her ruined garden. Ikai, enraged, fights the pirates' warship on top of the mansion before A can stop him. He eventually destroys it. Mei is still upset about her garden, despite the fact that they won, but A offers to get her more plants. Ikai continues to be concerned about Shiro, but A reminds him of their family rule not to pry into one another's private lives. Mei proposes they travel to a dungeon for a combat, exactly as Ikai had requested. A, on the other hand, claims he has some work to do and logs out. Takeiro wakes up to a knock on the door and removes his gaming goggles. Asuma informs him that their father is in the hospital, which surprised and worries Takeiro. The next episode is coming soon, so don't forget to subscribe.